Okay, welcome everyone to Table for Two. This is Chris Ansoff. I'm with Ashwin. We're here, Table of Two, where strangers become friends and friends turn into family. So, it's my pleasure today to introduce Ashwin, who fill me in what games you have developed, and then we'll talk about what games the game you've got coming up.
Sure. I was a co-designer of a game called The Wolves, just above me. The art does a lot of justice for the game to exist and has seen its popularity. Um, Very striking cover, I think. And then I've also
Were you
worked.
a participant in the art?
No, no,
No, okay.
that's not my eye,
Oh,
or I guess my facial features. No, and then I used to work at a company called Funko Games,
oh wow.
or Prospero Hall. They made hits like Jaws and Rear Window and Legacy of Isla Nublar. But I worked on like a game called Star Wars Rivals,
Mhm.
which is like a kind of like a 3 lane battle line game with miniatures. I worked on a game called Disney Animated, where it's basically you are filmmakers and you are cooperatively making films like Aladdin and Snow White, but the villains are attacking the film being made. So
That
very
sounds
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's a very fun kind of tactile game. Those are kind of like maybe some of the ones that you know, like I would affix to my name, and I've developed a lot of other ones too, or been have my hand on a lot of other ones too. But now I'm kind of starting on my own journey here with publishing, and also like we'll see what comes out of the next couple of years of what I can talk about. But yeah.
Okay, well, great. What were you at a young age where you're like, hey, I want to make games? What brought you into this fold of designing all these and being part of all these cool games?
I wish it was as prophetic as that. I think my story is pretty unique, and it's silly and embarrassing and self-deprecating it all at once. But I love it. I moved to Seattle. I'm living in Seattle. Can't you tell? I've been living in Seattle for 10 plus years now, 11 years. Whoa! And when I first moved here, I didn't really know anyone, so I tried to find some friends, and I joined kind of groups here and there. Mostly like watching basketball or watching football. And I was like, oh, let's try some board game meetups. I stumbled into one that was actually a board game design meetup, and I just dismissed the word design, and I showed up to that because it was just like maybe a block or two from where I used to work in downtown Seattle. And it was actually just a bunch of cardboard, a bunch of paper, scraps of paper, and we were playing games like very rough and whoa, that blew my mind. It was a epiphany of things to come, and I started going regularly. They were very excited that I was there because I was fresh meat. I was brand new, and they were kind of showing off their games. They being some of like the upper echelon of designers in the area, like some of the top tier designers in Seattle. You might have
Cool.
heard of like Abandon All Artichokes by Emma Larkins,
Uh-huh.
or like Cascadia by
Yeah.
Randy Flynn, or Point Salad, and like the lineage, the catalog that Flat Out Games has. They were participants in this weekly session. One week they kind of like poked me and was like, "Hey, where's your game?" All right, and I kind of like embarrassingly didn't show up for like 3 or 4 weeks because I was like scared of them asking that question again. Let me kind of like fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. I joined a mentorship program. The mentorship program resulted in literally nothing, but it created a friendship of my mentor and me, and it was a tabletop mentorship program. And after that, the start of the pandemic happened, and my mentor kind of reached out to me saying, "Hey, would you like to work on a game together?" That was like all I needed to kind of like build and assemble and energize my design journey, because otherwise I was kind of sitting still with ideas. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what started my journey. It wasn't like when I was 8 years old, I want to do this. But having looked back, like this is a long-winded answer. Sorry. Having looking
No.
back, like I was surrounded by games my entire life, so it was only like kind of natural. Honestly, I just didn't see it.
No, that's excellent. I mean, that I'm always fascinated talking to people how they get to where they are, and a lot of times it's not the thing they were, the fireman they wanted to be when they were 8 or something like that. It's just,
Yeah.
and it sounds like a lovely path, especially with that mentor to come forward and give that boost. That had to
And he
be,
was a co-designer of this Wolves game.
oh, awesome. Is that the game you guys designed together? That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so now you're working on a new game, Chicken Fried Dice, right?
I wasn't prepared or nothing, but here it is.
Ah, well, look, we go.
Ooh.
Can you tell me sort of the a little bit of the process of how you came around the design with that? Because that looks really cool. I was looking at you have a Kickstarter page, and that looks really cool. And you got we'll be showing it later, the link to the web page for the game. Um, what was your process in coming up with that one?
Yeah. So I'm collaborating with a friend. His name is Rob Newton of Sonora and Shuffle Grand Prix, and a new game coming out in stores soon called Cassette Crush. And he and I met at this meetup that I would meet weekly, and name-based designers. That's what we became. So we were kind of stumbling through ideas and generative concepts because we wanted to work together. Some for some reason, and Chicken Fried Dice was like it culminated from just like rolling dice together and like, oh, what if these were like different colors and numbers or ingredients, and what if we what if they're chickens, and we just like went off like from
Okay.
there, and it was like a really like rocky road, but also rocky road ice cream is at the end of that rainbow, right? So like that is not a saying, but it felt great to start working on something together, and yeah, the process has been remarkable. Cannot believe the validation I've been getting from kind of now this like last step, um, from the grueling years of developing this game to now like finally seeing it kind of like being played by the public or being played by people not me, has been very rewarding.
How
The
many years
process,
has it been since you first started?
if I were to say 1 or 2 years, I'd be lying to you. If I say 5 or 6 years, it's more accurate. So,
Wow.
yeah, and not necessarily all games take as long or as short as that.
Right.
It's just maybe we were just kind of trying to catch our our rhythm and learn to each other because we were mostly not strangers, but we were never collaborators before this.
Right. So that,
And we
go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, just we have learned a lot of lessons along the way. Like we know what to do next time, and we've everything that we've done with this project has been a like an educational tool for how to build each other and also build individually and grow individually as designers. So this was a lot of very different games before it became the game it's become today.
Really? So what, do you mind sharing one or two of the sort of the lessons you learned?
Well, kind of put ideas in a parking lot. Like there's so many ways to like consider and invent and innovate, but like maybe ride one energy to its endpoint. All other new concepts and ideas, maybe put them aside first because you want to see that kind of ride its momentum, and then if not, we can start over again, or we can like if we hit a like a breaking point, we can kind of like address what's the wrong thing or what's the problem, and then try to go back to that parking lot of ideas to create solutions, not more problems. Because if you can just like put anything in the game,
You
it
start,
doesn't really resolve itself. It
yeah,
just
it starts,
exactly that was a great visual. It just kind of spirals out of control or branches out like a tree, and you have to hit every one of those points. Actually, what happened is we did all of that, and then we came back to pretty much one of our basic ideas. So like
really
yeah,
interesting.
it's an amazing journey, but also like I lost hairs out of that.
So is this, do you have a sort of favorite genre of type games you like to play? I mean, this looks more like, resource management, dice rolling. Is that more, do you ever like go into like the more the, ones where you're trying to figure out who the wolf is or things like that? I'm afraid I don't know wolves, so I don't know how it plays, so I'm embarrassed to say that.
Don't be embarrassed. I forgot too. So let's make it up together. No, I'm just kidding. It's an area control game where you're a pack of wolves. That's what the wolves are. So
Gotcha.
you're a pack of wolves. You're just kind of growing around nomadically, kind of creating homes for yourself, and you have to kind of spread out. That's kind of what wolves do, but they stay together. That's also what wolves do. So there's this like tension point. It's pretty thematic, with the exception of like you have a player board and you like rotate tiles or flip tiles to do things, which is not what wolves do. But hey, it's a board game.
No, it's
Um,
yeah.
you asked me another question, and I don't remember.
I sort of what are your favorite style of
Oh
games?
yeah. Well, behind me are some area control games and maybe kind of the heavier like action programming games. Above me, but also I'm blocking it now, is maybe my favorite game system, and it's called Age of Steam. Basically, the driest of dry pickup and delivery games, but it uses an auction game and auction system that really drives the player interaction. Auction games are my favorite. So I love auction games because I'm heads up with you, and we're talking and we're bidding and we're saying things and prioritizing things. So then I know next time what you care about or don't care about, or what you can and cannot do. Right? A lot of table talk, a lot of above the table, and then yeah, the game facilitates that, right? As
Right.
opposed to like I just take resource and your turn, you just take resource. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
these types of games that I'm blocking, um, are some of my favorites, as well as like this one right there. Wow, look at me! I've never done this before. This one called Raw.
Uh-huh.
It's Reiner Knizia's. It's an auction game, but you're very fixed in terms of what you can and cannot bid. It's kind of sensational, and it's very public, opaque kind of game
Right.
where you know how everyone's doing, and but it's very tense in its auction.
Interesting. So what kind of games did you play growing up? Because you said you mentioned you grew up with, tabletop games and stuff. Were that style of game, or is that what you kind of gravitated to as you got older?
Growing up, I played a lot of Risk and Monopoly and Connect Four and Othello. Stratego was like my go-to. Um, I loved Stratego so much. Then I got into high school and I discovered Risk, and um, like Shut the Box, and then I got into like actually casino and like casino games. But like, yeah, I used to work at a toy store and we would sell games like Settlers of Catan and all that, and Pit and things like that. Seen It was a big thing for groups and families, which
Mhm.
is kind of like a trivia game with like visual. You would play a DVD. You would put like a DVD in your what are DVDs? I don't remember,
Yeah.
but you put a DVD in, and like you'd have like an audio visual trivia experience. Kind of like a
Right.
really cool concept, honestly. But then I got really into like tabletop miniature games. I think
Okay.
this is we could go on for five
Yeah.
hours if you really want to, but like so Warhammer and that kind of stuff really took over my life. So I've been everywhere. I've been to the world and back, and now here I am with chicken fried dice.
Well, it looks like a great game. And when's it going to come out? You're
It
going to
looks like
release the
this.
Kickstarter. When are you releasing that?
Yeah, we're gonna go live in the fall of this year.
Okay.
What does that mean? Probably like Labor Day to Thanksgiving, sometime between. Um, yeah, trying to just like cross our T's, dot our I's, but also like make sure that we don't land, face forward.
Right.
Sun's
So
gonna
you
rise.
pretty much have the game pretty much complete, or are you looking for the Kickstarter to kind of help add some, there's always stretch goals and things like that.
The game's complete. The game's done. We're doing minor tweaks here and there. Maybe like we're at like the finish line. We are basically just like
Right.
turtles, like going to the finish line right now. Maybe
After
like
so many
rabbits,
years.
maybe like rabbits or squirrels on a treadmill that won't end. But I don't know what that is either. But we are not making like dramatic changes, and we're not looking for the Kickstarter to be like, oh, now that we have more funding, or now we have funding, let's make more changes, or let's make other drastic decisions.
Okay.
No, actually, the funding is really just so that the game can exist. Anything that we've put in, we're not really taking out. The game is going to cost a lot, and it's a beast. It's a brick, and so what is that? Oh, it's this one.
Yeah.
And anyways, I'm having fun with this, but
No, that's exciting though. I mean, it's got to be after all the work you've put into it. Now, if I assume you've done a lot of play testing as well. Do you
yeah, So
With
when I said this game has been like going ongoing for about 5 or 6 years, the last year and a half has been very ramped up in terms of like cadence. We've been doing weekly, if not multiple times a week, playtesting. We've been doing weekly, if not like monthly, like iterations of the game. Just like giving you context, this last year we had a completely different game. So we've made a lot of changes.
wow.
Um, and while it probably played similarly, maybe some small tweaks here and there really changed the trajectory of how this game wanted to play. And been very fortunate because through all that playtesting, you see data, you see how players react to both your rules and your components, and you make adjustments, or you don't, and like you see it kind of fall flat, you know. So
I mean,
we've
is
been
there been anything and all that was like the biggest surprise? You were like, wow, didn't see that coming. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um,
Or does that happen a
it,
lot?
it might happen a little bit more than I was expecting,
Ah,
but that's always kind of like the joy of game design. I will say for chicken fried dice, two things that were big surprises. One was kind of potentially obvious, but I wasn't expecting it to be as successful as possible. We have gone to uh, uncharted territory with this game. It's not been done before, probably for a reason. But we have decided to do dual layer dry erase boards. So instead of writing like on a little piece of paper and throwing it away uh, as like an artifact, we have everything contained in the box. You always get to reuse it. Dual layer dry erase boards are like pretty expensive, but also they are purposeful for us because there's a layer where you get to draw in, but then there's another layer that you put inside, and then you could draw in that too.
oh my
So
gosh.
you say the word chicken fried dice, you're not expecting that,
Yeah.
and so it looks dramatically bold, and then when you play, it's been unanimous like approval and praise and excitement for, and we're trying to make that the best experience possible. That's one. The other one is this is a kind of like a dice drafting game. You roll some dice in this big giant contraption, and you are plucking dice as chickens. Yeah, in fact, in Chicken Fried Dice, we are the chickens. If you see in
Ah,
this little art, we
gotcha.
are the chickens,
Oh, make
and we're
okay.
and we're serving up dice to our fun little critters. Um, I almost went into pitch mode there, but I'll stop there.
That's
But
okay.
the big kind of other discovery with this game is that yeah, plucking dice simultaneously is pretty wild, pretty bold, and succeeds in its mission of creating interaction and tension for this game.
Mm.
There are no turns, so I'm not waiting for you. I'm not waiting for Joey Jojo. I'm just doing my action at the same time as everyone else, which means we are combatively uh, plucking dice to serve our customers.
Wow. Do you ever get a case where someone like knocks a dice and like, oh, it's now a six?
Yeah, and I don't care.
Okay. Oh, so that's part of the game then.
I can just like, well, I mean, within reason, I
Okay.
suppose.
Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna definitely go on the list for when you're doing the Kickstarter
Yeah,
on
sign
it.
up for our Kickstarter, Chris.
I will absolutely do so. Have you got any other games you're working on, or has this been the
Oh,
focus?
like a dozen, and that's I've learned after these dozen games that to maybe not do a dozen at the same time. Um, yeah, I'm working on several different games, and I will say that I don't want to share too much about them, but I have like a drawing game that is singing. It's Chef's Kiss. It's so good, where everyone's kind of drawing different things the same way. So
Interesting.
I'll be kind of leave it at that. It doesn't sound like it works, but it works. It's remarkable. Um, and yeah, I'm working on several other projects.
Awesome. Well, that's kind of our time,
Oh,
and I really appreciate this has been fantastic. I'm going to finish up with our slides that we have that's that we're part of the table for two, so we want people to join. And then most importantly, here's your information that people can get to the website for the chicken fried dice, which I highly recommend. And here are your other you know contact points. These are our contact points for table for two. Um, and it was such an awesome pleasure to have you. I can't wait to see chicken fried rice and see what else you make. So thank you.
Well, yeah, it was an awesome pleasure to be here too.